Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies and we glean information that's hidden, unknown, from the unseen. And so, what an incredible and interesting week of energies and really monumental energies coming up that expand beyond this week. And welcome, Olivia, as you're joining us from around the globe. Put a hello in the comments. That way we know you're there. And then just remember that throughout the broadcast, we take your comments and questions live and we incorporate them. And it's always fascinating. I love that aspect that as everyone's joining from around the globe and they put in their comments and their questions, how integrated they are and everything. So let's take a look at these current energies because it's quite interesting. Today is July 12th, and yet I was completely, and you're going to see this theme, you're going to see how I was completely upside down, confused. There was this whole this whole thing, like I had forgotten what the date was of last Wednesday. We do this every Wednesday, and so last Wednesday to this Wednesday, and I was looking and I knew that we were to talk about July 17th, 7/17/23. And the reason is because on the 17th is the Cancer new moon. And so I was looking at that and I was looking at the astrological chart for 7/17/23. So I knew instantly, okay, we're going to talk about, because next Wednesday, the following Wednesday, will be the 19th, which will be after the new moon. And so it was important to talk about this ahead of time. Okay, so I sit down and I write 7/17/23, and I get going, and then I write down, right after it, I write down 7/15/23. And I'm going along and I'm looking things up, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what are you doing, James? Like, that's not Wednesday. Wednesday's the 12th. The theme, the reason I'm sharing all of this with you is because there's this whole topsy-turvy, upside down, inside out energy and very strong theme that is going to be playing based on the Cancerian new moon on the 17th. And part of the reason why is because the moon's nodes, which direct, the north node determines where humanity is going, the south node determines what we're letting go of. Those nodes are changing signs on 7/17/23. And so, and I'll show you how this all plays out. And bear with me because there's a lot here, but I want to bring up what our main theme is. And what they said is transfiguration, the launch of the new you. And you'll notice I did this purposely. When you're looking on the screen, you see these beautiful, there's a purple, there's a pink. The theme of this week, that you saw the intro, pink. There's a pink, the color pink, very strong with this Cancerian new moon, the 7/17/23, the changing of the nodes and so forth. So we have the purple, we have the pink front and center, we have the green, and then you notice that I placed the exclamation point just above, directly above the pink butterfly. And that was purposeful because they're really making a point about this moment, this transfiguration, the launch of the new you, exclamation point. So good morning, Colleen. Welcome, Alicia. It is hot all over the planet. So this is our main theme. Pardon me. And I just want to give a quick definition on transfiguration. And it says a complete change of form or appearance into a more beautiful or spiritual state. This, of course, happened to Master Jesus, where he went up onto the Mount of Transfiguration and was illumined, changed in form. This is also true with the beauty of the imaging, the butterflies, from the caterpillar to the butterfly. So we're going to see how this theme keeps playing out, that we're changing form. We're going literally from being kind of earthbound, grounded, to transfigured, a complete change of form or appearance into a more beautiful or spiritual state. And you're going to see how that plays out with the Sabian symbols, with the astrological chart that's going on. So let's move to, and it's fascinating. There's a lot here, so bear with me. And I just want to go back and start with this image. Amaji, return to the mother. This sense, and look at the pink, the violet, the purple. And Amaji is a return to the mother, this freedom, this manumission, this release from enslavement. And so, and again, remember, this is from the inside out. That's another big theme that's playing out this week with this 7/17/23, the new moon, and the nodes changing. It's an inside out. We're going to see it and feel it and recognize it from the inside out. So I just wanted to bring this up again, this image. And then we're going to move into the astrological influences. And literally the message was upside down, right side up. And the reason that's playing is because they literally, the first thing they said was upside down. It's the song by Diana Ross. And it's upside down, boy, you turn me, inside out, round and round. And they brought up, I'm bouncing around here for a second. They brought up the fact that it has to do with the Wheel of Fortune and the World card. And it's all about big changes, the changing. And when I was looking at the astrological chart for July 17th, and I'll bring this up in a minute, we're going to go through it in some detail. It was literally like the instant message was like upside down, everything just flips, everything just turns. So if it was up, it's down. If it was inside, it's outside. If it was right side up, it's upside down. You get the moral of the story. You get the point that they're making. And that was this whole piece. And when we're looking at the Wheel of Fortune and the World card, so the Wheel of Fortune, and we've had this being played out, that the Wheel of Fortune, we've had this before, so they're bringing it forward. It's the 10th card of the major arcana in the tarot. And you see a revolving wheel, which represents the wheel of life. In each corner of the card, we see the four winged creatures sitting upon clouds. These creatures represent the four elements of the minor arcana. Its meaning is a common aspect to most interpretations of this card within a reading is to introduce an element of change into the querent's life. Such change being in station, position, or fortune, such as the rich becoming poor or the poor becoming rich. And its upright meaning is it has to do with chance and changes and destiny and luck and opportunity and winning. So you can see that they're saying what was up is down. It's a change. It's a complete change. And then when we go then to the World card, which is the 21st, it's the last major arcana card in the tarot. And what happens is that it's the final card, and then we start again with the Fool, the 0 card. So, and it's associated with the 21st letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Shin, also spelled sin. It depicts a naked woman hovering over and dancing above the earth, holding a staff in each hand, surrounded by a green wreath. And you remember, we've had green, these colors that we've had, the purple, the green, the pink, the turquoise. And being watched by various creatures. Its meaning, the world represents an ending to a cycle of life, a pause in life. The hexagram we're working with today is 12 because it's the 12th, and that's known as standstill. So here, the World card represents an ending to a cycle of life, a pause in life before the next big cycle beginning with the Fool. It is an indicator of a major and inexorable change of tectonic breath, major change. Its upright definition, achievement, fulfillment. Remember, 7, the foundation of God's word, divine fulfillment, divine completion, these types of, so here it is, achievement, fulfillment, possibilities, successful conclusions. So there is this entire, yes, indeed, Colleen is saying so needed, exactly, because what we're looking at here is this tectonic change, because we're, again, Pluto is moving. It's right now, it's retrograded back into Capricorn. You're going to see how that plays with the chart. Then, and yet we also then have the nodes changing, and it's a shift. And the nodes, by the way, astrology goes clockwise. The nodes go counterclockwise. And so we have the nodes changing signs. We have this Cancerian new moon, and this standstill. Right now, this standstill, we're at the 12th, this standstill before the 17th. And there may be something happening about the 15th, because the 15th, 7/15/2023, becomes a 20. And we've had that, remember, we've had that overview, this 20 over 2. And the eternal wisdom, the golden apple, the eternal wisdom, and the all-seeing owl. The owl can turn its head 360. It has perfect vision at night. So it's an all-seeing, and then the apple, the all-knowing, this higher wisdom, higher vantage point type thing. And we've had these images throughout the weeks. The unseen has been giving this to us, messaging us, preparing us. And remember, it was that was a couple shows. The 63-64 was all about the preparation. The old is complete. Stand still. There's this moment in between, because it's calm, chaos, calm. And so, and they're preparing us for the new. And how literally this main theme of Transfiguration, the launch of the new you, but we also then have this, I'm just looking for, we'll come to it. So realize that on the 15th, which I believe is Saturday, so things could happen Friday, Saturday, Sunday that give us a higher overview that starts to click with the standstill and this tectonic change, this inside out, upside down type movement into 7/17. 7/17/23 becomes a 22. That 22 over 4, but it's a master number, so you never reduce a master number. However, it's a 22. What's very interesting, 22 in the I Ching is about, it's known as grace, adornment. You're going to see the word adornment, and it's how we love ourselves, how we beautify our environments, how we beautify our minds, our hearts, our souls, inside out. Because it's from what is within that we adorn, decorate externally. So, and again, I often say this, no one needs to be living at Versailles to have a beautiful home, to have a beautiful space, to have it. No one has to be driving a Rolls Royce to have a beautiful vehicle. It's our mindset. It's what we do with what we have that makes all the difference in the world. And it is the simplest of things to adorn ourselves, our spaces, our vehicles, our modes of transportation, our modes of communication, Mercury, and that's adornment. Well, here it is. It's 22. It's adornment. The action is to accept. Its hidden influence is last week's message, 40, liberation, untangle. And its underlining cause is about 47, oppression, exhaustion. We have talked about the patriarchal rule and how the shadow element of it has been to oppress, suppress, minimize, harm. That's the shadow element of the divine masculine. And that it's at a point of exhaustion. We've exhausted it. It's done. We had the height of its calm, which is why we're in the chaos of the transition. And what are we to do? Adapt, change. And that's what it's telling us. So powerful numbers are playing. And again, 22, you're going to see how 22 plays out in the chart. So let's just move. I'm going to go into the astrological influences again. I'm going to bring this back up. And so on 710, Mars enters Virgo. So Mars, divine masculine, and enters Virgo, divine, the representation of the divine feminine. So here it's like, here we come into the harmony, the softening, and yet we're inspired. The Virgo, the divine feminine, how we nourish the home, the hearth, love. So it's speaking a new love language. 710, 10, a new beginning. So it enters in, Mars enters into Virgo on 710. And then as I've said, on 717, new moon at 24 degrees Cancer, opposite Pluto at that anaretic degree of 29 degrees in Capricorn. And for everybody listening, don't get lost in thinking you need to understand astrology and so forth, and what the numbers what the numbers mean, the degrees and so forth, and the houses. The overview is what you're to take away. The overview is that the new moon is in Cancer. The sun and the moon are conjunct. They're next to each other, both at 24 degrees in Cancer. Opposite and directly opposite the wheel is Pluto in Capricorn at that anaretic degree of faith about not giving up at 29 Capricorn. And at the same time, well, on the same day, slightly different time, the north and the south nodes enter. So the north node will enter Aries, first out of the gate on the astrological wheel. Aries, and the south node, what we're releasing, moves into Libra. Now, because they go counterclockwise, the nodes, it's not entering Aries 1 degree or Aries 0 and Libra 0. It's entering Aries 30, Libra 30. So they're moving backwards. And with this, you see the image. Notice how there's an hourglass. But if you look really closely, you'll see the sand is at the top of the hourglass, pouring downward to the top of the bottom. Typically, the sand would be at the bottom of the upper part, flowing to the lower part of the bottom part. So here's this upside down, boy, you turn me inside out, round and round. Everything's topsy-turvy. Everything's upside down, inside out, wrong side up. That's the messaging about 717. Now, let's move in. Well, I'm going to show you my mug here. They want me to go to number 4 really quickly because, again, number 4 is foundational. And what they said was squeezing from the inside out. And I had to sit with that one for a minute. I was like, squeezing from the inside out. And when you think about like analogy, like a fruit, like an orange or something, well, we would squeeze it. And when we squeeze it, it's from the outside, compressing it, squeezing it. This is squeezing from the inside out. And I was like, what? I don't. And then all of a sudden they were like, contractions, birth. So imagine contractions. When a woman is giving birth, the contractions are internal. You don't see the doctors and the nurses or the spouse or the partner or whatever sitting there pushing from the outside on the woman's belly, squeezing the kid out, the baby out. No. Contractions occur from the inside out. So from inside, the contractions push, birth the baby. Well, so here they're saying squeezing from the inside out, which says it's going to be an inside job, an inside transition, an inside act. Contractions birth a whole new world. So this internal shift that brings about the new, that births the new, and it will be an inside job. And again, you'll see how this ties in. So we're going to go to the natal chart. And up on the screen, you'll see on your right-hand side, this is the astrological, they call it a natal chart, meaning a birth chart for, at the time of the new moon in Cancer, this is the birth, the natal chart. And this is from cafeastrology.com. And on the left, by Dane Redyear, he has reinterpreted the Sabian symbols. And so I'm just going to highlight a few things. But what I want to draw your attention to is on the lower left, you'll see the 0 degrees with this kind of horseshoe, like a right side up horseshoe. That's the north node. And it's right now at 0 degrees Taurus. And it's going to move on the 17th into 30 degrees. It's going to go up into 30 degrees Aries. Directly opposite, kind of in the pale green, you'll see that the upside down horseshoe, or the right side up horseshoe, however you'd like to look at it, at 0 degrees Scorpio. That is going to move downward and go into 30 degrees Libra. So that's the shift that's going to happen. Now, what's interesting, come back to the bottom left of this, and you're going to see the North Node 00. You're going to see Jupiter, the great benefactor. Jupiter is at 11 degrees Taurus. So we have right now North Node 0 degrees Taurus, Jupiter 11 degrees. Right below that, Uranus, expect the unexpected, at 22. Look, and then SED is an asteroid. And then that's at 0 degrees Gemini. And then right to the right of it, coming down the wheel, is Vesta, the little image that almost looks like a magic, the magic lamp, the genie in the lamp, is at 10 degrees Gemini. So when I saw this chart, and look at how you have in the center, you see some green lines, you see the blue lines, and you see the red lines. Each of those denote different things. The red lines are like squares and the challenging aspects in astrology. The blue lines are like trines, and so they're the harmonic aspects. And then the green lines are like semi beneficial. So sesquiquadrates and things like that. One of the things I noticed is that the green and the blue lines were again like pressing in on the red lines, like they were like an accordion in a way. They were pressing in. This is coming to me from the unseen intuitively. So this, and squeezing from the inside out, this kind of pressing in to birth something new. Then, as I was looking at from 0 degrees with the north node to the 10 degrees of Vesta, very auspicious, double zeros, 1 1 2 2 0 0 10. Very powerful zeros, double zeros representing God, source, the all that is. 11, the most intuitive master number. 22, the most powerful. The 7, 17, 23 becomes a 22. Uranus, expect the unexpected. So we're bookending with these double zeros with source, and then the squeezing of these things, and then the 10, Vesta at 10, new beginnings. Now, and by the way, and then just to the right of Vesta at that 10 mark, in the kind of almost to the yellow, it's a pale orange, moving to the right at the bottom of the wheel. You'll see the sun, the symbol for the sun, and to the right of it is the moon, 24 degrees Cancer. Now on the natal chart, Aries is in the first house, Taurus is in the second house, Gemini is in the third house, Cancer's in the fourth house. What's very interesting about this is the fourth house represents home. And I just want to read to you, and the fourth house is Cancer, the crab. And it says Ptolemy in the Almagest described Phatni as the nebulous mass in the chest of the crab in the constellations without knowing what it actually was. Its true nature as a cluster of faint stars was not established until 1609 when Galileo first turned a telescope on it. Astronomers now know this star cluster by its Latin name, Praecepe or Praesepe, but it is popularly termed the beehive. Praecepe can mean both manger and hive. It is also known as M44 from its number in Charles Messier's catalog of nebulous objects. In Arabic, it was called al-Milaf, meaning crib or manger, the same meaning as in Greek and Latin. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is because we associate, what's the manger? Well, instantly I go to Master Jesus being birthed and cradled and swaddled and laid in a manger. And this Cancerian new moon, something to do with the home, something that has to do, our body is the home of the soul. It is the manger, the beehive of the soul. So here we are, this new moon and sun in the fourth house, and taking us back to the beehive, the home, the divine, the return. Let me bring it up. Amagi, return to the mother, the beehive, the manger. Just bringing that up for a second. And directly opposite it, across the wheel and kind of like the blue violet, is Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn. So on the left, let's look at the first thing, and it has to do with the degree, the Sabian symbol for the moon and the sun, this new moon, this Cancerian new moon on 7/17. The corresponding Sabian symbol is a willful man is overshadowed by a descent of superior power. They're talking about transfiguration, the launch of the new you. And the corresponding Sabian symbol is a willful man is overshadowed by a descent of superior power. The keynote is the response of spiritual forces to the integration of personality through positive, willful endeavors. We are dealing here with a man who uses his will and positive imagination in facing his life problems. Remember imagination, because we're going to come to Willy Wonka in a minute. So, in facing his life problems, to him comes a Pentecostal descent of power. So to us comes baptism by fire, the Holy Spirit, fire, Spirit, a Pentecostal descent of power. That's what happened at Pentecost couple thousand years ago. And it talks about how the Spirit descended on them. They all looked like they had flames illuminating over their heads, and they were quote unquote speaking in tongues. They were illumined. They were transfigured. To him comes a Pentecostal descent of power. He receives the quote mantle of power, the grace, baraka in Sufi philosophy, or the providential assistance, which can make him a true leader in his culture. And you're going to see how Chani Nicholas, who's an astrologer, talks about becoming this. The changing of the nodes is about leaders becoming leaders, meaning become the leaders in our society. And here it's talking about true leaders who can make, so with providence, with higher power, with that assistance, true leaders become in their culture. In this fifth symbol, we witness a more transcendent expression of success. It is not merely external success, as is given by society to its prima donnas, but a spiritual response, a sign of inner strength and uncommon endowment. Really powerful. Now, take that for a moment with Capricorn 30, where Pluto is, because Capricorn 30 has to do with, so this is where Pluto is sitting, is it's at the 29th degree, but you advance 1 degree in the Sabian symbols. So Capricorn 30 is about executive power, executive decisions. And it speaks about, is there a supreme council of quasi-divine beings? Is there the unseen? Is there, and within world governments and everything, are we being 17, hexagram 17, being guided, follow, be led? And they talk about the inner government, inner government or the White Lodge in this Capricorn 30 Sabian symbol. Highest form of social interaction. It's a higher octave. And this is number 3 that they gave me. They said higher octave, higher self. And octave is 8. 8 is like the symbol of the magician from last week. It is the infinity symbol, represents eternity, infinity, when it's turned on its side, the number 8. And so higher octave, higher self. And the 3, it's number 3, it's the Trinity. And we had that. And the higher self is, so imagine your soul for a moment so that you understand this. What's coming together is each of us, so the soul comes into, is birthed into its vessel. It's all purposeful. It's all chosen. So everything about your sex, your gender, your sexual orientation, your height, your hair color, everything about you is purposeful because the soul has created it. So they are talking to us about a higher octave, a transfiguration, and a Pentecostal illumination. A higher octave. We're going back to where we began, but an octave higher. 8. Higher self. The higher self, the soul, the higher self, is the accumulation of all your lifetimes. And so the analogy that I give is, imagine a ponytail. Within the ponytail are multiple strands of individual hairs. Each hair represents an incarnation that your higher self, your oversoul, your soul has experienced, has chosen. So the higher self and the oversoul is the ponytail, is the whole of the whole, the ponytail. Within the ponytail are all the individual strands that you have experienced in terms of reincarnation, experiencing human lives, karma, dharma, these types of things. So they're saying to us, higher octave, higher self. And then I heard the song from The Sound of Music, Climb Every Mountain. And the beauty of that song is about not giving up on your dreams. We all came here at this moment. We all have big dreams. We all want for ourselves and each other. And there are 8 billion people approximately on the planet. There are many of that 8 billion that want a better existence, a better future, a better today. And so it's saying, climb every mountain, that 29th degree, that anaretic degree of faith, not giving up. Pursue your dreams. We'll find them. And then how Capricorn, Pluto sitting at 29 degrees Capricorn, which is really 30 degrees in the Sabian symbols, is about executive power, executive decisions, supreme council of quasi-divine beings, inner government, White Lodge, highest form of social interaction, lifting it up to a higher octave, turning everything on its head, flipping it upside down. You can see why this week, you can see, I hope you all are, please place in the comments. I hope, number one, I'm doing this justice and that you're following along and everything. It's a deep, it's not heavy, it's deep. And there's a lot here. and that whole turning upside down and whatever. Let me go to the mantra for the week. Our mantra is once in a lifetime. And this came about because they said when you want to remember something, you want to remember someone's name, you want to remember an event or a time or a date or a moment, they said, say to yourself, once in a lifetime. This is a once in a lifetime moment, person, opportunity, experience. It's a once in a lifetime. Well, think about what they're saying. I mean, so biblically, the narrative is 2000-ish years old, and it speaks to a once in a lifetime event, Pentecost, where the Holy Spirit came upon the people gathered, and they were transfigured, illumined, changed once in a lifetime. Well, here we are, dot, 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 again. And this is what they're speaking to about this time. And remember, time. Time is the one construct that, divine time and our time. I just know they're bringing this to us for this time. 7/17/23. It's the numbers are very powerful. The 7, foundation of God's word, divine fulfillment, divine completion. 17, follow, be led, soul source connection, going as guided. And the 23 is a very powerful number biblically. It's Psalms 23 is probably one of the most well-known, Psalms. They speak about how the fact that, and 2023 is another 7, double sevens. But contained within the 7 is so 23 represents death. Okay, well, but they're talking about, and 46, when you double down on 23, represents life, liberation, life. And so this 23 is the deliverance from death, from the illusion of it, from the experience of it once in a lifetime. So, and let me just move to the quote that we're going to use this week. They said, fresh activity, Goth, this is a quote from Goth, fresh activity is the only means of overcoming adversity. So to overcome the challenge, to overcome the adversity, fresh activity is required. It renews us. And again, the image of the butterfly. Because the butterfly taking flight, what have we not seen? Because we've been quote unquote grounded, earthbound, grounded, dense, heavy, patriarchal. And it is not to demean the patriarchal rule, the divine masculine, not in no way, shape, or form. It's simply to denote characteristics of the time, of the experience. The matriarchal, the divine feminine, reborn, taking flight, fresh activity, renewal, new life, new. And that's what this moment in time is about. So I'm going to go back to the natal chart for a moment, and just so that you can see. So with these degrees, the North Node talks about it's 1 degree Taurus, and so a clear mountain stream. And we had this the other in a few shows back. Basically, again, the analogy of the ponytail and the strands and everything. It's saying the pure, uncontaminated, and spontaneous manifestation of one's own nature, meaning through the rock strata, through all of this, through the experience, through the dharma, the karma, the past history, it's all purifying us because we were attempting to climb the mountain, climb every mountain. We were climbing the mountain to get to the ideal, to get to the perfected state. And through that, so they give the analogy of water running through rock strata, through earth and everything, and it purifies the water. It takes out all, it's the temperance card, it takes out all of the impurities. What emerges is a far higher quality. So, and it's to know your own nature, but it's the higher octave, higher self own nature, individual nature, soul nature. That's what the North Node is. That's what's on offer. We go to Jupiter, the great benefactor, and it becomes 12 Taurus. And it speaks to a young couple window shopping, the fascination of youthful ego with the products of its culture. And this is about, see, the woman waters flowers in her garden. This is the inward turned attention. Something from the inside, we're turned in. Attention of the mind reveling in its own flowering. But now we have a scene symbolizing the outward longing. So inside out, outside in, outward longing of the ego, which has polarized itself and become man, woman. The man aspect is that part of which part of the ego which craves direct participation with society and the outside world. It's the externalized, it's the ego aspect. The feminine is the internal. Fully to participate requires a special kind of substantiation. And we are still in this third scene, the key word of which is substantiation. So clothes, goods of various types, adornment. There's the 22, adornment. And working tools are needed. So we need these things. We utilize these things, these external things, as a form of substantiation. Substantiation is information or evidence that proves that something is true. That's the definition of substantiation. So we utilize external aspects, adornments, to substantiate our internal, I know this isn't a word, but our internalness. So our being. And this is again getting flipped on its head. So it talks about the fact they are defined by organic nature, personal abilities, and by the ambition to succeed in society. That's the old model, the old language, the old way. And it talks about the fact that the ego becomes aware of what society has to offer. Its attention is turned outward. And interplay takes place between the individual and their culture. They are being molded by what they see and by prospects for growth in social prestige, socialization of desires. That's the patriarchal. That is the old model. We look outwardly and we say, I'm going to go and this will make, and this label and this home and this car and, this title and this spouse and, yada, 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 yada. It gets externalized. Well, that's getting flipped on its head because Jupiter at 11 degrees, 11, the most intuitive, it's internal. So we're no longer going to be looking outward for the substantiation, for the adornment, because we'll have it within. It's like, okay, so imagine an old school, they're showing me an old school lantern and it's not lit, and then all of a sudden you turn the switch, you turn the knob on the lantern and it's illuminated, illumined. That's what we're speaking with here. The next one, pardon me, which is Uranus, expect the unexpected. It's 23 degrees. A jewelry shop filled with valuable gems. Pardon me. And it goes on to say the social confirmation of natural excellence. Natural excellence. Something that's innate. Something that is found where? It's mined. Gems are mined. They're hidden. They're mined from the earth, from the strata. They are born, literally born, created and born by Mother Earth, by the elements of Mother Earth. Two elements should be distinguished in this symbolic picture: the gems that result from natural processes, often induced by extreme volcanic heat and pressure, and the finished products of refined craftsmen. Both the gems themselves and the artistry are highly prized and bring prestige to the owner of the jewels. The symbol applies to any product in which culturally acquired skill has embellished or transformed the end result of a lengthy and demanding natural process. So yes, they're talking about gems, but this is also talking about us, humans. We are divine gems, and we have been on a long, arduous trek. And thereby, here is the refinement. And at this stage, we are concerned with the social process which brings about a certification of personal wealth, a certification of personal wealth, being validated, being illumined, being transformed. That after the long, arduous process, journey, experiences, certification of personal wealth from the inside out. It's associated with Uranus, and it's 22, the most powerful master number. So here's this expect the unexpected of being certified, valued, lifted up, turned inside out, upside down, right side, that type of thing. That was this process. Said the asteroid at 0 degrees is 1 degree. Gemini. And I love this one. A glass-bottomed boat reveals undersea wonders. The keynote, the revelation of unconscious energies and submerged psychic structures. Unknown, things that are hidden, that are revealed because they're revelation, tectonic, revealed, revelatory. Within the relative security of a boat, an individual person can learn to be aware of the as yet hidden contents of man's collective unconsciousness, our untapped reservoir of abilities. Provided this boat, that is to say, the ego that separates the human from the collective planetary psyche of humankind, has been given a glass bottom. The conscious mind must have become, in part at least, translucent. Remember that beautiful quote about the more open you are, the clarity of the heart, the more you see? That's what this is speaking to. This translucency is not direct openness. The window of the mind remains closed, but through it, the individual can become aware of the outside. Here, outside means the psychic depths below the normal level of consciousness. So it means what's outside of us, what is unseen, soul source connection. What is it that we are not readily aware of, interacting with? It goes on to say, at this first stage of the discovery process, one can only speak of vision, not identification. The feeling is one of wonder. I did not know that this could exist. How beautiful, or how exciting. A new dimension of reality is perceived by the earnest inquirer. So the more open, the more aligned, the more ready, a new dimension of reality is perceived by the earnest inquirer. It speaks to this higher octave, this transfiguration, this Pentecostal illumination. Because number 2 on the unseens list was never before seen footage. That's what they said, this never before seen footage. And then I heard event, experience, world. And then I looked up what the meaning or the definition of never before seen footage. And it speaks to never before known or experienced, unexampled or unparalleled. or unprecedented event. So never before seen footage. And here it's saying right in this degree, the Sabian symbol, at this first stage of discovery, discovering something new, the feeling is one of wonder. I did not know this could exist. How beautiful, or how exciting, because it's a new dimension of reality. It's a new, and you're an earnest inquirer. You're open to it, you're looking for it, it appears, it comes to you, you experience it. Last but not least is Vesta at 10 degrees, which is 11. And they're just wanting me to go back. So again, never before seen footage. So it's never been seen before. We've never witnessed it before. It is never before known or experienced, unexampled, unparalleled, unprecedented. That's what they're speaking to here. Last but not least is Vesta, 10 degrees, which becomes 11. It says newly opened lands, a whole new world. Newly opened lands offer the pioneer new opportunities for experience. The keynote, the power and joy of new beginnings. These newly opened lands can refer to any as yet unexperienced field of potential activity at any level, material, emotional, mental, or supermental. We are now dealing with the third level of experience at which individuality, or at least the ego character, operates more definitely. While in the preceding phases, much was said concerning the powers of the mind, this mind was essentially based on the collective patterns of a culture and a society. Now at this level, we find the human being essentially engaged in their personal and particular struggle for full and effective individualization. And yet it's not a struggle because, well, surrender, allowing. It doesn't have to be a struggle. It can simply be that we allow, we surrender, we allow, we align. We're proactive, not reactive. It goes on to say, and the initial realization she has to experience is that she has reached a potentially virgin field of consciousness and activity. She is facing the unfamiliar. Anything could happen. At this stage, and the sequence of symbols, having conquered, at least to some extent, the collective and material energies of nature and society, humankind has become relatively separate from the past. We're leaving the old behind. We've become separate from the past. They face the future. Every step ahead should show them rising to the occasion. Higher octave, higher self, rising to the occasion. This never before seen footage, experience. All of these are speaking to this. And so this literally everything just gets flipped on its head. It is, again, I'm bringing this up, the Wheel of Fortune and the World card. It is Transfiguration, the launch of the new you. It is this beauty of once in a lifetime. It's a once in a lifetime moment because it's fresh activity that will overcome our adversity. We're separating from the past. The old is over. Welcome, Elizabeth. And never late, right on time. And there's always a replay. So in catching up, this is a pretty in-depth week and energies and so forth. Last but not least on the list of the unseen, what they gave was the date 7, 17, and then 7 because the 2023 becomes a 7. So 7177. And I just want to bring up that image of, there it is, 1, 7, really it's 7177. But I just bringing up that image of 177 for you to see the energy of it and feel it. Um, and what they are talking about here is they said seven, and it's number five, it's about changes. And they said 7177, truly a joyous time of renewal, abatement. An abatement, the definition of abatement, typically in legal use, is the ending, reduction, or lessening of something. And so they're talking about 717-7, 2023, is truly a joyous time of renewal, abatement, change, the ending, the lessening of this change. And that came about, and Willy Wonka came in. There's a new Timothy Chalamet, and I'm going to post it in the show comments. There's a trailer coming out for the movie Wonka. It comes out at Christmas time this year. And Timothy Chalamet is playing Willy Wonka. And this was interesting. The promo is by Warner Brothers, UK and Ireland. The United Kingdom and Ireland have always been associated with the mystical, the magical, the otherworldly. When you look back, the Mists of Avalon, King Arthur, all of these things, the Danann, all of these, the leprechauns we've had, just bringing this up here, if I can get my cursor to work, there we go. Luck of the Irish. We've had this. So, and they're in this footage of the promo for the movie. There's a part where he says, "So quiet up and listen down." And then he stops and he goes, "No, scratch that and reverse it. So quiet up and listen down. Upside down, you're turning me round and round, inside out, the whole shebang." This is going to kind of flip us on our head. This is going to, when it happens, it is going to feel like that to a degree. And again, the more open we are, the more we will see, and we will be in awe and wonder of the moment. We will be at that moment where we say, once in a lifetime. Wow, I didn't know this existed. Wow, I didn't know this could happen. Wow, I didn't know this of myself. Because it turns everything on its head. It turns everything inside out, upside down, right side up. It's just a complete change. I know, and I struggle with this myself, the ego mind personality of James. And I say, okay, well, when? This sounds amazing, it's awesome. And I suspend that need to know when with the purity of the truth, the purity of what's being presented, the purity of what the facts present. The facts meaning the Sabian symbols, the degrees, the information that comes, the interweaving, the master weaver. And I just want to bring in, I will put it in the comments, just to give you hexagram 12. We'll finish off with that. I'm not going to go into great depth with it. It is about standstill, because remember the 12th, we're at this in between. We're standing still, so to speak. Its action is release. We're letting go of the past. We've separated from it. We're releasing it. Its hidden influence is development, to permeate. This will permeate. Pentecost, the baptism by fire permeated those individuals. It transfigured them. And its underlining cause is 11. Peace, relax, like we can exhale because we've been delivered. We've been renewed. We have entered the new. And that is where the beautiful quote from Goethe, fresh activity is the only means of overcoming adversity. It is by new acts, new, that we evolve, we advance. It is not clinging to the past. It is not trying to go back 70 years in time or 2,000 years in time. It's not about going back. It's about advancing, going forward with the new. And there's Elizabeth. Perfectly, see, right on time, Elizabeth. I was going to ask about this upside down energy. And that's exactly what this is all about. These energies, 7, 17, 23, this, which becomes a 22 over 4, is about having us be aware, preparing us that everything is feeling inside out, upside down, twisted sideways, and yet it's purposeful because at some point on after at the 7, 17, 23 mark, it is going to be exactly that. It is going to be like everything, just like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. They entered a whole different world, a world of imagination, a world of your creation. And all of a sudden, everything just, it's like they light the lamp, they turn the light switch on, everything just changes. I personally am really excited. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Let's do this thing and let's move it all along. Because while the while what has come before it has been very purposeful and there have been many beautiful aspects, there has also been the weight and the density of the climb, of striving to reach the ideal. And what this is saying is the ideal becomes the new reality. Boop. Illumined, transfigured, changed. And I would be remiss to say that again, if your internal soul choice objective is to experience not that, not the advance, one would say where you've been on top, Wheel of Fortune, the world card, it turns upside down. Upside down, boy, you turn me inside out, round and round. The wheel is going to turn. It, you know, that's soul choice. So I leave with all of that. Um, Elizabeth, one last thing. As soon as I accept or let some challenge go, the answer arrives. Exactly. The minute you are no longer confrontational, dis in dis-ease, disharmony, the minute you let go of it and you just take a breath and step back from it, separate from it, as they were talking about earlier, the answer becomes clear. You see it. Because what was blocking you was the ego mind personality, the fear of letting go, the fear of the unknown. Somehow it's an aspect of fear. The minute we let go of that, we're released from that energy, and that's purposeful. The fear serves a purpose because it tells us, oh, look at us, we're spinning around in our head or in our emotions or in our fear or in our anger until we're not, until we go, oh, wait, let me let go of all that. Okay, soul source. Okay, higher self, higher octave. And then that knowing comes in. Feeling, word, entire understanding, take the next step, awareness, and it delivers you. So again, this is really about this moment, the 7/17/23. Um, and we'll see if we're on next week or not. I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting to see what happens, and so we'll know if we're gathering next week or not. However, cannot wait. Cannot wait for the advance of all of this, the actual manifestation of all of this. So thank you, beautiful, beautiful soul family, for walking this journey with us, with me, with the unseen. And I cannot wait to see where it all leads. And thank you all for your presence, your participation, your fellow um, travelers, your fellow travelers on this amazing journey. And I could not be more appreciative for your presence. So until then, be safe, be wise, and be open. Be gentle with yourselves, and we will see where this all goes.